Previously on Merkaat Manor, Flower's newest litter made their first steps from below ground into the open air of the Kalahari desert. And while 3 of the new arrivals were being looked after at the burrow, their brother Columbus had a big adventure. 10 years of intensive research by Cambridge University biologists has uncovered the fascinating lives of a wild group of meerkats known as the Whiskers. This extended family is led by matriarch Flower. She wears a radio collar so that biologists can track her gang's movements. Home to the Whiskers is a 3-square-kilometre patch of scrub at the edge of the red sands of the Kalahari Desert in South Africa. This successful group have 15 burrows at their disposal and regularly move home to find the best feeding places. And in this gang, there are a lot of mouths to feed. The arrival of Flower's 3rd litter means the group has expanded to 44. With plenty of meerkats to look out for each other, this successful gang is going from strength to strength, and we're watching their every move. It's early morning, and the Whiskers have spent the previous night like any other, sleeping safely below ground. While they've been cozy and warm in the burrow, a Kalahari rain shower has been and gone, and with a cool, damp day, there's the promise of a good day's foraging ahead. For the Whiskers, a misty morning is a rare and welcome sight. It isn't just beautiful. It means that rain has been, and in a region dominated by desert, water is an extremely precious commodity. The Whiskers' very lives depend upon it. With an all-you-can-eat beetle and scorpion buffet on this morning's menu, the group waste little time hanging around the burrow and soon set off to find breakfast. Although it's perfect weather for foraging, Flower's latest litter need a little more time at the burrow before they'll all be allowed out for a full day's hunting with the grown-ups. Columbus is the only pup that has previously ventured away from the burrow area. Today he'll have to be content with the company of his 3 less adventurous siblings. Sophie, one of Mozart's 5-month-old offspring, is one of the volunteer babysitters. With new pups to look after, she's no longer one of the babies in the group. She has adult responsibilities. But she's never had kids of her own and is finding them a bit of a handful. It's tough being mum for a day, but somebody's got to do it. The rest of the gang are hard at work finding breakfast, but the morning dew is making the foraging unpleasant. Their fur acts like a sponge, and their saturated coats are proving uncomfortable to wear. The trouble with soggy fur is that when they dig for food, they end up sporting new sand boots and face masks. Even though it's troublesome being wet and sandy, the forage continues because there are rich pickings today. Whilst the feast is in full swing, the whiskers have some extra help to look out for predators. Friendly local shrikes are hunting for insects too, and their loud alarm calls are useful to signal danger. When the coast is clear, it's time to get back to the business of dining out on today's Kalahari cuisine. The dewy morning is a lot less fun for poor Tosca. She's still alone after being evicted from the gang. Tosca has to keep a careful eye out for predators. It's stressful and it means that she has less time to spend foraging. Although she's sticking close to the group, she's on her own and she's vulnerable. The rest of the gang are taking full advantage of the Kalahari's all-inclusive snack bar. The moist sand and warm sun has brought a profusion of their favourite prey close to the surface, and that means easy diggings for the whiskers. Einstein's caught his first skink of the day. He's growing up fast and is getting to grips with some of the trickier meals on the Kalahari menu. The gang might be enjoying the feast, but they still have to keep an eye out at the same time. While some animals bear no threat, others are lurking that can do real harm. As the gang carry on foraging, Tosca edges nearer to the group. She's desperate to rejoin the whiskers. Jogu, one of her 5-month-old sons, has mastered the art of insect catching. But Tosca can see that his brother McMurphy is heading for trouble. It would be more than her life is worth to approach the group, so Tosca can only sit and watch. Horned adders are extremely dangerous when they're provoked. But McMurphy is still learning about the perils that his home has to offer. This time, he sensibly heeds the snake's warning. Even if he'd got into trouble, Tosca couldn't have approached. Flower is very close by, and she's in no mood for compromising. With a new litter of 4 pups back at the burrow, keeping the gang in order is the best way to ensure a safe upbringing. She will allow nothing to stand in her way. Her pups will need to be fed when she gets back, and she's hungry. Interfering family members aren't going to get anywhere near this meal. While Flower's preoccupied with her noisy snack, the rest of the gang spot Tosca. She's not hanging around. she quickly heads away from the danger area. Tosca's alone and very much an outsider. Will this girl ever find the warmth of a family again? Having enjoyed such a productive day's hunting, the Whiskers foragers return home early. The pups haven't seen Mum all day and are ready for a feed. Flower doesn't mind. She's eaten well today and there's plenty of milk to go round. Columbus, parsley, basil and rose have been born at the perfect time of year. A good supply of milk has all the nutrients they need to make them fit and healthy. Soon it will be winter. With the arrival of colder, drier weather, food becomes harder to find. Some of the larger animals will migrate to areas where food is easier to come by, but it would be impossible for the tiny meerkats to travel such long distances. The Whiskers will start to wander over a larger territory, which could lead to more conflicts with rival gangs. The sooner the pups have got their strength up, the better their chance of survival. For now, they can afford to relax in the warm autumn sun, safe in the company of their experienced gang. They're all oblivious to the fact that only half a kilometre away, there's another group of meerkats on the prowl. It's the Whiskers' arch enemy, the lazuli. They've made a daring foray into the Whiskers' territory. They're being led by Big Si. He's the dominant male of this gang, and although he's bigger than any other meerkat in the area, he's still being vigilant. If he's spotted by Flower's group, there'll be trouble. The lazuli show no signs of returning to their own territory, and with evening drawing in, it looks like they'll be spending the night in one of the Whiskers' burrows. At least they have safety in numbers. There's one meerkat nearby who doesn't have the luxury of group protection. Tosca's very much on her own. She's been shunned by the Whiskers for so long that it's likely she'll never be allowed to join her family again. Her solitude is final. The only way she can stay alive is by starting a group of her own. But first she needs to find an unrelated roving male for a mate. Perhaps her luck is about to change. Carlos, a roving male from the lazuli group, has spent a lot of time hanging out close to the Whiskers in recent months, and he always has lady cats on his mind. For Tosca, this could be her ticket to a new life. For Carlos, she looks like too good an opportunity to miss. The sun might be setting on the Kalahari, but is this a new dawn for Tosca? She's an easy target for his amorous approaches. She's not turning him away, and after spending so much time on her own, she welcomes the company. But Carlos has been known to love and leave his mates, so this might not be the last chapter of her story. As the Whiskers settle down for the night, they're in the dark about what the neighbours are up to. But they do know there's a storm brewing. As darkness falls, they make for the security of the sleeping chamber. The bad weather continues through the night and well into the morning. Storms are rare events in the Kalahari. When they hit hard. The lazuli have weathered the storm in one of the Whiskers' burrows and have remained undetected by Flower's gang. In fact, they're making themselves quite comfortable. Are the Whiskers in for trouble? As the sun breaks through, the Whiskers are in high spirits. The favorite teenage sport of play fighting is in full swing. The pups have already started learning from the adults. It's a very important part of growing up and an essential step in mastering the skills they need to survive in the Kalahari. For the moment, there's time to mimic some of the more fun activities. And like kids the world over, play fighting is a favorite. A bit of rough and tumble never harmed anyone. Columbus is more interested in what the older members of the group are up to than playing with his siblings. But at a quarter of their size, he's far too small and vulnerable to join in. He's going to have to stick with parsley, basil and rose for the time being. Eucerian, an 8-year-old fully grown adult, doesn't have that problem. He's seen plenty of action in the past. When he was a pup, he was attacked by a bird of prey. He managed to escape, but he was left with a big scar over his left eye. He fancies getting in on the entertainment. For meerkats, play fighting is a way of practicing their combat skills. Eucerian is big and strong, and a useful ally to have around when it comes to battles with enemy groups like the lazuli. He tries to join in the teenagers' game, but they're much more interested in playing with their peers. Outcast once again, he heads off alone, making the Whiskers one man down. With her precious pups above ground, Flower's keeping a careful eye out for danger. She knows that it'll soon be time to take them out foraging. Having successfully brought up 2 of her own litters this year, this healthy third litter have the potential to do just as well. But with the dangers that the Kalahari holds, for now the safest place for the youngsters is to stay at the burrow. As the rest of the group set out on today's forage, Flower's 4 young pups are left behind in the company of Shakespeare. They couldn't be in safer hands. Shakespeare always takes his babysitting responsibilities seriously. He's one of the most vigilant and brave meerkats in the group. So far, everything seems calm. Flower and her gang are busily hunting out today's breakfast. It's not long before the Whiskers are disturbed by something. What could be making the group so edgy? A vulture flies overhead. Judging by the number of them, it's likely that a big game animal has been killed and the scent has attracted them. But vultures aren't a danger to meerkats, so the forage continues. Back at the burrow, Shakespeare also spots the vultures in the distance. But he's got much more pressing things to concern himself with. Worryingly, there's a lone meerkat approaching, and that could spell trouble. With the skies clear, the gang of foragers led by Flower take a breather from their search for food and spend some time relaxing in the sun. As they're all facing in the same direction, their backs aren't covered. But everything seems tranquil, and they're in no rush to return home. Shakespeare hasn't got time to enjoy the sun. The lazuli are heading his way. He sensibly leads his little charges into the burrow for protection. The lazuli start war dancing towards him. They mean business. Even though parsley, basil, rose and columbus are underground, they're not out of danger. At least in Shakespeare, they have a strong and experienced adult male to protect them. But if the lazuli are determined to take over this piece of Whisker's territory, then Shakespeare will have to fight them off alone. His only hope is for Flower and the rest of the family to get back in time to see off the intruders. But the foraging party are completely unaware of the peril facing Shakespeare and the precious new litter. Underground, Shakespeare's keeping the pups close. Flower begins to slowly lead the foraging party home, but will she make it back in time? As Big Si enters the burrow, things are looking desperate for Shakespeare. If necessary, he'll defend the pups with his life. Next time on Merkaat Manor, will Flower return home in time to save Shakespeare and her precious pups from the lazuli? And will Casanova Carlos stay by Tosca's side?